Coach Little here to talk about one of my favorite topics, a little Augusta cross country here on July 16th. We have just wrapped up our first full practice week of the season. Cross country with the other fall sports officially starts on July 15th, officially, but teams can do some things before that. And we actually started our training on Monday, so we got a full weekend this week. And, I thought overall, I thought it was a good week. Not too exciting in terms of the kinds of workouts. We're starting this year, the first couple weeks, all sort of light pace runs, and that's not anything exciting, but it's important because on the first day of the first day of practice, I always give a little speech, and of course, I try to motivate the athletes to work hard and things like that. And on the other side of that, I made a point to show as a coaching staff what are we doing to try to continue to build and improve this team. And part of that was in planning these practices and planning these training sessions to increase mileage. I've done some reading this summer. I've listened to some podcasts from some very successful high school coaches, very successful high school runners here in the state of Kentucky. And a common theme that I continue to come across was making sure that you're getting the mileage in, how important that mileage, even light pace mileage, how important that is and how beneficial that can be. Of course, it's something that I've kind of heard for years, but I've kind of stuck with our plan for years. But I thought this was a good time, a good opportunity given the state of our program and the kids that we have to kind of increase that. So to give you an example, last year on the first week of the season, I would say on average, a runner would have ran 25 miles. This week, our target goal was 33 miles. So, while that's not, tremendous, that's over a mile a day difference. So, but again, I think that's going to be an important part to our continued success and building on last year's success. And with that comes the very important things that the athletes have to do, because they're probably going to be a little more tired. They're going to have heavier legs. So what can they do? Well, some of that's just going to be, but they need to make sure they're doing the things like staying hydrated, eating properly and avoiding sugar, getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep a night. As I told them, that rest at night when they're sleeping, that's when their body's going to recover the most. So it's important that they do those things to try to help their body recover. Today in practice, we actually did our mile time trial. We usually do some sort of time trial at the beginning of the season, not because I really care what they're running at this point here in week one, but because the system that we use either a mile or a 3K or a 5K, their time from that event, and that helps us give them targets and goals for our training each week. I won't say it's complicated, but it's probably a little more complicated than the average person would think. That a cross-country practice consists of. But anyway, I think that the guys that were there today that did the time trial, I think they were pretty pleased, impressed. So most of them were within 10 seconds of their track mile time, all right, that they ran probably 6-7 weeks ago. And, they were, of course, a little slower, but, they've had obviously they had some rest time this summer and, haven't been running as much. On top of that, you take this week here. Again, I just talked about we've increased their mileage to a load that they're not real used to. So I know their legs didn't feel great, but, all of them getting within 10 seconds. And this isn't on a track. This is on the streets of Augusta. So like Connor said, he could have probably went 10 seconds faster or on a track. And I don't know about 10, but certainly I think on a track, they could have all shaved off probably at least 4 or 5 seconds. Having those smooth turns on the track as opposed to our sharp turns there on Riverside Drive and 2nd Street. So anyway, I thought that was important though, because I think it showed them what they're capable of doing. We always talk about running as much mental as it is physical. And yes, it's a very physical sport, but it's also a very mental sport. I know they were tired coming into today, but they went out there and still gave their best effort on this time trial and found out, well, they did pretty good after all. So it was good to see that. I mentioned the increased mileage, And a huge component of this increased mileage is Saturday running. Okay, we've always encouraged our athletes to run on Saturdays and always given them something to sort of do on Saturday. But without running on Saturday, they're not going to be able to meet their mileage goals. So I mentioned this week, 33 miles is the goal. The runners today, most of them through today, have gotten between 28 and 29 miles. So, that's through the first 5 days. So most of them are going to have to run between 4 and 5 miles tomorrow to reach that 33 miles. So it's really important that you encourage your kids to run. I would say on Saturday, if at all possible. We want to use Sunday as a rest day. Okay, rest from running day on Sunday. That way they're rested and recuperated as much as possible to come back with practices starting Monday. So, each athlete, I text them their Saturday target or what they need to run, and then they're supposed to text me and let me know they've done it. Because if they don't text me, I'm going to assume that they haven't done the running. So Saturday runnings is really important, and really anytime they miss, whenever they miss, and it's not for illness, I try to give them the workout or give them a workout. A lot of times it's not the exact workout because I know it would be difficult for them to do that on their own, but give them something to do to try to, be active on the days that they're not in practice. So what are some important things coming up now that we kind of talked about this week? This Tuesday at 6 o'clock in the cafeteria, we have our parent runner meeting that we're basically required to have by the athletic department. We'll discuss the team rules. We'll discuss fundraisers, things like that, uniforms, just all the things that we need to touch on going into the season. So that's at 6 o'clock. Practice is at 6:30, so your kids should already be there for the meeting. And then it kind of makes sure that our meeting doesn't run any longer than 30 minutes because we'll get out of there and head to practice at 6:30. The meet schedule, I talked about the meet schedule in the preseason update. And honestly, I don't know that it's changed any. Now, that doesn't mean it still can't change, and there is a tentative schedule on on the AugustaAthletics.us website under cross country. There is our tentative schedule. It can still change. In fact, I sent a couple emails today to some coaches asking them about some races. Are they going to have meets, or do they have tentative dates for their meets? For example, I'd like to go to Clark County this year if the date works for us. So I don't know if it will, but anyway. So the schedule that's on there is still tentative, and we probably won't release the final schedule till early August. But just go ahead and I think I mentioned this in the first video. Every Saturday between August 21st and October 30th is taken with a meet, except for one. Okay, we'll give them one Saturday off, one weekend off, and I don't know exactly the date of that yet. But it's most likely going to be September 18th or September 25th. Just based on what the other Saturdays are and the types of meets that are on those other Saturdays. Those are the Saturdays that one of those, would be probably okay to not have a race. No huge races on those days. So, again, still trying to iron that out exactly which one that'll be and iron out our schedule. So probably won't have that on at the parent meeting on Tuesday, but we'll have the tentative dates at least so you can see those dates. Another thing I want to talk a little bit about, and we'll talk more about this at our parent meeting on Tuesday, is we're going to do sort of a stay-at-home team camp this year. A lot of schools go off to team camp. The boys basketball team did it back in the summer. I think the girls team did too, and they stay overnight and things like that. And then there's a lot of cross-country teams that probably do that too, but not really a possibility for us. So we're going to do sort of a modified version of that. We're going to have our own team camp. It'll be 9 to 4, August 2nd through the 5th. So that's the Monday through Thursday, that first week of August. 9 to 4 will be the times for that. So go ahead and just mark that on your calendar that your kids will be basically in school at practice all day. We're going to do a variety of activities. Of course, we'll have running. A couple of those days, we'll have sort of 2 a days. We'll do a run in the morning and a run in the afternoon. We have arranged to get some pool time at the Augusta pool. Part of that will be doing some aquatic training, some pool training in the water, and then they'll have a little bit of free time as well after the training. Of course, they'll have an hour for lunch, and that's a good time for bonding. Go out and eat together, eat at school together. We've got Coach Crouch coming in 3 days to do some strength sessions for strength training with the kids. We'll do some lecture sessions, some class sessions on different things like nutrition and hydration and race tactics and things like that. And then one day we do have a trip planned. So planning to take the kids to Blue Licks one day, as thought that would be a good team bonding experience. and be good physical activity. We'll do some hiking out there, hopefully, and make an afternoon of it. So looking forward to that team camp on August 2nd to the 5th that we're going to have there in Augusta, and think it will provide a lot of benefits to our kids. And again, just make us that stronger team that we're working to have as we go into this season. Last thing I want to mention, sports physicals. Of course, everyone has to have a current sports physical to participate. I was glancing through those today. Most of our kids' sports physicals expire in August. So I know a lot of you all with insurance and things, you can't schedule an appointment for one sports physical until the other one expires. So just kind of keep that on your radar. We don't want those to lapse. They've got to be current. So I'm going to start texting kids their sports physical expiration date so they can make sure that you know that and can get them scheduled for a sports physical. We don't have any lapse there in their physicals. I think that's going to do it for today. Getting off to a good start. Looking forward to another strong week of practice next week. And until the next time, take care.